Around the Cairngorms by bike, summer half term 2024. We're off.
Day one, setting off from Blair Athol. This is beside the A9 on the lovely cycle route 7. I couldn't imagine what it's like being on that main road now.
Having crossed the busy A9, we climbed steadily up through Dal na Cardoch Wood and beyond, through open moors, past the ruined lodge of Bad Nam Beast and into the valley of Ellendon Water, which the track followed up to the locked gates of Stronfordurrig Lodge. The going was good on well-maintained 4x4 tracks, but beyond the lodge that changed into a peat bog trot that was energy sapping and hard work as we headed towards the lock. Beyond the bogs, we picked up a narrow trail that threaded away along the foot of a steep slope just above Loch an Duin, and we kept our eyes open for a good stealth camp in the vicinity.
Nice spot, bit of breeze, keep the midges away.
We found a fantastic spot to camp just above the loch, and a good breeze kept the midges away. Soon after setting off on day 2, we were crossing the swollen waters of the Alt Loch an Duin just beyond the end of the loch, and Trish finding it quite a hard crossing in the wind. Soon we were back on good trails as we inched our way steadily downstream. The middle of the Gaik Pass, or Giak Pass as a local told us to pronounce it, was wild and it felt almost Alaskan or British Columbian in places, with plenty of stream crossings, the rivers all high.
Last as well, but 5 people were killed by an avalanche in 1800.
Beyond Giak Lodge, we picked up the trail next to Loch an Sellich, and it was lovely going through beautiful woods. On a sealed road we sped down Glentromie, enjoying the lovely woodlands on either side. A little bit of navigation was needed in Lower Glenfeshie, as the trails were a little overgrown in places.
Glenfeshie now.
Once on the right track, it was delightful going with terrific views over to the Munros high above. The double track quickly became single track as we headed sort of east-northeast towards Loch Morlich. Mostly easy going, but a bit bumpy in places and a little tricky to ride easily.
On the single track heading through to Loch Morlich, and it's a little bit bouldery and rough in places. Trish is finding it a wee bit tricky.
We were heading for Loch Morlich to camp, our plan being to find a place with less midges than there were in the forest, and there were far fewer. It was a great spot to camp.
Trish is finding this section up to Ryvan a bit tough. It is quite rough, but perfectly rideable.
We climbed briefly beyond Ryvan Bothy before descending on double track down into the broad mature stands of the Abernethy forest, loving the wonderfully old sculptural Scots pines. We did a bit of a loop down around Forest Lodge, keeping on double track, heading towards the remote Loch an Tuich, beyond which we knew we'd be onto single track.
So we're heading for Dorback Lodge now.
Having crossed Wee Feshallock Burn, we were onto single track, and it was tough going, bumpy, rough, narrow, vegetated, and progress was slow. Sometimes the trail was very, very boggy, as here. Other times it was steep and stony, but it was tough going. Once we crossed a Dorback burn, we were back on double track, and it was so much easier going. It was wonderful beyond Dorback Lodge, although soon we descended into the valley and discovered that actually it was rather tricky. Tricky as the route crossed the burn of brown 5 or 6 times in just less than a kilometre, and the route out beyond the edge of the forest there was tough. Beyond Tomintoul, the rain came down in torrents as we gradually headed upstream, bound for a camp at the Linnavarn, we hoped, just about a couple of kilometres from this point in the image. We set up camp on the flat turf, the wind blowing and the rivers thundering down, hoping that the weather would improve tomorrow. Morning was blustery and grey, but it actually wasn't raining, and we headed our way gradually up Glen Arn, aiming to reach Faindoran Lodge. It was wonderful riding. I hadn't been this way before, so it was completely new to me, and a really, really good route. Trish found some of the hills a bit tough, but mostly it was good going.
Magnificent setting, wild.
After a lingering cheesy lunch in the bothy, we turned our bikes around and headed back down. We had wondered about going up around Loch Arn and exploring that area, but there just wasn't time. So down we trundled beside the River Arn, back down to our tent, packed up and headed over towards Loch Builg to make our final day a bit easier. Back on double track in Glen Gain, we headed gradually upstream, trying to find a sheltered place for the tent, because the wind was strong and I think could have destroyed it up in the spot.
Did you see that? Oh, so simple. Just cooked in with boiling water. Well done, Trish.
A steep climb took us over the Claddock Pass, with tremendous views from the top of the Loch Nagar range in the distance.
Now down next to the Dee. Fording the Geldy burn. This is now the ford beyond the Geldy, another one which I'd forgotten about. Oh, Byneck Lodge actually. Oops.
Beyond the burns, we climbed to the watershed and the descent of the tilt, which Trish was a little worried about. I told her what Harry and I had experienced back in 2018, and she was just a bit worried about what she might find. Actually, it was all right, and she walked all the awkward bits. Our fantastic last camp, just on a little strath of flat land, just by the Altaglinny Moor River.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle beside the tilt in places. Absolutely tremendous spot.
Now we just followed the fantastic trails down the Arrow Straight Glen Tilt back down to Blair Athol. Easy going.
Arrow Straight. I'm guessing it's fault guided.